So this is the iQOO 7, straight up after iQOO 3, no 4, 5, 6, direct 7. And I'm so hyped up about this phone. It comes with Snapdragon 870, 120Hz AMOLED display, 66-watt fast charging that can go 0 to 100 in 30 minutes. But what really excites me about iQOO 3 is the dual chip in it. It is the first phone with such an arrangement. It helps you get better frames while gaming and HDR as well. So is this the real flagship killer? Well, this is Prateek, you're already watching TechWiser, and we'll all together find out. Let's go. So here's the box, and they have a carbon fiber finish over it. I like that the box is sort of angular, fresh new stuff for a fresh new phone. Really spikes out the geometry inside me. You open it and there's the message, Monster inside with a shiny 7. And straight up, you have the iQOO phone. It feels quite slick. We'll get onto that in a bit. Funny thing, iQOO didn't reveal the price of the phone, but guys, we have exclusive leaks on it. It's zero. Sorry about that. You get the usual silicon case, and there's your 66-watt Vivo flash charge, proprietary stuff. You also have a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, which again mentions 66 watt. Now, keeping all of this aside, back to the phone. So at the bottom, you get a Type-C port, a single speaker, and a SIM card slot. Moving on to the right, you have this power button, which is mildly, like ever so slightly textured. So when you feel it, you can figure out the difference between the power button and the volume rocker. And on the top, you have a single noise cancellation mic, and you also have a stereo speaker right here at the top. You have a dual SIM card tray with a red rubber seal right here. I think it has some kind of water resistance. We'll check that, but there's no micro SD card storage, so no storage expansion. Now back to the phone. It kind of reminds me of a Vivo phone, sleek, well built. It's pretty obvious though, iQOO is a sub-brand of Vivo, so the design comes from there. But it's a really well built phone, and when you hold it in your hand, it feels good. So now let's quickly boot up the phone and see what's up. The iQOO 7 has a 120Hz 6.62-inch 1080p AMOLED display. It is powered by a Snapdragon 870. To back all this up, you have a 4400 mAh battery. You also get a fast UFS 3.1 storage, and surprisingly, you have an NFC chip. Quite one plus of you. The back and front is glass. At this moment, I don't know the protection this phone has. We'll confirm with iQOO on that. So you can consider the iQOO 7 performance to be on par with the flagship phone from 2020, if not 2021. Now coming to most important thing on iQOO 7, it has some sort of dual chip inside. It's really interesting to see. Now this extra chip only fires up if you're playing a game. You can consider it to be an extra GPU which does special task. Now to explain that to you, let's go. Now to be precise, the extra chip in the iQOO 7 does two things: MEMC, motion estimation and motion compensation, and second thing, HDR, which you already know what HDR is. So to start off, MEMC is what TVs do. To put into simple words, MEMC picks up a content which is 24 FPS or 30 FPS and then converts it into 90 or 120 FPS. Here's an example. This is a footage of me shaking my hand in 24 FPS and side by side in 120 FPS. Now, if I pause at this right moment, my hand is blurred in 24 FPS, whereas it's not blurred in 120 FPS. So MEMC removes this blur in 24 FPS footage by adding more duplicate frames and taking it to 120 FPS. So this MEMC in this phone helps during gaming. It takes your 30 or 60 FPS game and makes it 120 FPS. And then additionally, this chip does HDR. HDR for content just boosts up the brightness and colors to help you see each and every detail in shadows as well as highlights. For example, now on this phone, if you see, I'm playing Genshin Impact with HDR off and HDR on side by side. Close up, let me know if you can feel the difference in picture quality with HDR off and HDR on. Now with that explanation, back to the video. Now back to this phone. The phone also carries a 4D shock mechanism, which means it has more vibration motors in the phone. Here, listen to this firing shot and me walking and firing. Can you feel the vibration? The entire frame on the back vibrates to give you a really good vibration feedback while gaming. iQOO has tried to make the experience like a PlayStation controller, which vibrates slightly to make the game more exciting. Now, the phone also comes with a 48 megapixel main OIS camera, 13 megapixel wide angle camera, which is also the macro camera, and yeah, the 2 megapixel black and white camera. And it also has a 16 megapixel selfie camera. The photos from the main sensor turned out to be good in daylight. The colors are a bit poppy, but good. I liked it. The wide angle camera was a bit soft. You can also click micro photos with the wide angle camera that turned out good due to the 13 megapixel sensor. The selfies out of the 16 megapixel camera are good. I found out a bit of focus issue at times, but we'll check that. For videos, you do get the option to shoot 4K 60 FPS, but stabilization is disabled on it. You get OIS in 4K 30 FPS, and this is a handheld shot side by side. You can see the difference in stabilization in 4K 30 and 4K 60. To sum it up, this seems like a really good launch, but I'll need more time to test the cameras, gaming, etc. I really like the idea of the additional chip and the innovation iQOO is doing with it. Okay, a quick update. Our sources say that the iQOO 7 is gonna be priced around 30 to 32,000 rupees with a couple of bank offers, which you will find in the top pinned comment. And I see the point of iQOO now. Since OnePlus is not a flagship killer anymore, we need a new flagship killer now. I'll be using the iQOO 7 as my daily driver for some time now. Let me know if you want to see a full review. On that note, this is Prateek signing off. Subscribe for more, like the video, and I'll see you soon.